And we are live. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. The captain, the stream has started now. Okay, well, apologies, we're a little bit late. We just had a bit of a catch up beforehand. But again, if you have any thoughts, again, we're going to be going over loads of transfer news today. Some big updates, including obviously the Albrighton contract, which you've seen about. Ben Grist, a player that not many people have known about, but he's a really good player. Berardi, Bailey, an update on Johnny Evans, because I know that's been the injury, and Brendan Rodgers has come out and said that as well. Right. First of all, Anne, how are you doing, mate? How you were at the ground for the 3-3? How was it?
No, I wasn't. That's the one pre-season game I didn't go to, but I went to the Wycombe game. I went to the Bertrand game, so maybe I might just stop going to games if it's going to be that exciting every time I don't go.
Yeah, it was. Did you manage to watch it from home or?
I watched bits of it. I was also doing some other bits that I can't mention online because you know exactly why. But yeah, so I was doing
no problem. That was good. Again, it was a cracking match throughout. Again, some of the highlights and that. Well, again, we've gone through it on the post match. If you want to watch that, link in the description. Link on the channel, you'll be able to find it. Anyway, first things first. The main player that we've talked about, Mark. We were talking about. Harry Christian says, "Are we actually getting a winger?" Well, we've re-signed one. It's in Mark Albrighton on that right-hand side, and fully deserved. I mean, he took his ball so well against QPR. I mean, that was genuine. I think you tweeted out and I mentioned it on stream. It was Kevin De Bruyne arrest, the way he could. That's exactly what Kevin De Bruyne did to us when we lost 2-0 to them. But anyway, Mark Albrighton, he deserves his contract, right?
Yeah, he's a good squad player to have. Play if we do sign another right winger, he's great rotation to have on off the right, off the left. He's that ultimate professional that's good to have around the squad. He's obviously going to give you 110%, but at the same time, I don't think he should be a starter week in, week out. But he fully does deserve a new contract.
No, I definitely agree. And also thinking about it, when he's playing, what did I just see the comments from and Doug? We'll bring it up in a second. When he's playing in that position and with Daka in the team, he's going to be vital. We said this with Slimani, and Slimani didn't work out, let's face it. But now that we've got Daka in the team and we know he's good with his head, surely signing Albrighton on a longer contract is a no deal. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, he's one of those players that he probably won't get the credit he ever deserves, but he's like a solid, as I said, solid squad player. If you're losing in the last 20 minutes, bring him on, get the balls into the box. Now we've got Daka, who maybe can cause a bit more problems inside the box. As you say, I think he's a brilliant option to have off the bench.
Yeah, he really is. Just coming to some of your comments now as well. I think Nate Mateo says Mark Albrighton is so reliable and tactically sound, top of elite at crossing, definitely. And one thing he's improved, something that, again, I love Albrighton, but before he used to just get the ball and just whip it in randomly and trying to just get the ball into the right-hand side and without really looking for where Vardy was. Now, if you look, he's playing different options. He's cutting on the inside and especially something that I mentioned yesterday as well. He's our best corner taker. And I mean, Maddison and Tielemans, as much as we go, these guys are amazing. They've been missing massively in terms of corners. So I think if you've got him on the pitch, make sure Mark Albrighton is on corners because he just knows how to deliver a cross and a corner.
You're saying he's our best corner taker as if that's an achievement. He's the only person we've got on the team who can beat the first man. So yeah,
Tielemans beat every man and looped it over in the last couple of times. I think it'll get his feet better, but it wasn't the best, to be honest.
No, that's a point that we've struggled on last season, both ends of the pitch in terms of corners, not defending them properly, which again was something that was, I'm not going to go over it too much because you did your post-match after the QPR game. But again, I know it's pre-season and all of that, but it's still concerning that the same problems from last season are still here at the start of pre-season. I think that's something that we massively need to address, defending corners, because it cost us a lot of goals last year, and it's going to be worrying if it carries on this year in the same vein. And with Johnny Evans, as we're going to get onto later on, picking up more injuries, a centre-back is needed.
Yeah, definitely agree. And especially, we can't rely on Kasper Schmeichel to dig us out every single time, which probably last season we relied on more than we should have as well, which is not good. But Again, with hopefully the height in the team, Samore, I know we mentioned him post-match as well. He looks like a growing the team with his height. Fofana as well. Hopefully that will change as well, but we'll have to see as well. Right. Again, we'll move on to something else. Obviously, one thing that was announced this week since we've not spoke, the Mint kit. What are your thoughts on? I really like it now, but
Yeah.
I looked a bit at the beginning and it was like wasn't sure on some of the patterns, but it's really growing on me, and I'm really starting to like it.
It's one of those when I first saw the pictures, I weren't that keen on it, but then I see it in person. I think it does look. It looks very, very nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. And I liked it from the beginning, but the more I see it, the more I like it. And that was, to be fair, that's the majority of kits. Even the home kit, I'm like, okay, that's a special kit. I quite like that one. It's rare that I like all. Again, we'll see on the third kit what that's actually like as well. Justa comes in and says, "Thank you for your comment, Justa. I think we'll get a winger because Romano said we probably will do." Yes, I saw that as well. Probably goal options are running out. We're worried about who it will be now. But. Again, we've talked about this off camera and in group chats and stuff, and there's one person I think that's standing out in particular, and your face is going to light up because it's probably the player that you want.
There's the player that I want, and then there's a player that I really don't want, and I don't know which one you're referring to.
Oh no! I was being genuine and talking about Pereira.
Oh yeah, I really do want Pereira. I think he's a brilliant. I think he'll be brilliant on that right hand side, and the thing is, he's there to get. West Brom have put a price on his head. Just go and pay the money, but I worry that he's going to end up at West Ham. If I'm honest, like it's looking more and more likely that he's going to end up at West Ham. But I'd love him at Leicester.
Yeah, somebody mentioned it on his Twitch stream, but also I've got a link in the description if you want a Fabrizio Romano Leicester special. Chris from Leicester Till I Die TV, so a link in the description after this video is finished. A full 30 minutes asking Romano all the incomings and outgoings and things like that. So I'll make sure you check that one out because, again, if you've not seen it already, fantastic interview. And, again, the man in the know from Fabrizio Romano. But, yeah, it's just incredible as well. Moving on to one of the players that, again, when I set this stream up initially, there was a choice of Bailey, but it looks like that's happening now. And good player. Going to Aston Villa is strengthening massively, which probably means that Jack Grealish is out the door. But is it one that we potentially miss? Because again, he's a great player, and we've all been screaming for him for a while, but it's not happened. He's gone to Villa.
He's going to be one of those that we miss if we end up signing Dan James. I think I'll be more annoyed if I've seen Villa go, Leon Bailey go to Villa if we end up signing Dan James. But if we still end up getting a half decent like right winger, I think then you can't be too annoyed about it. But I think my opinion on Leon Bailey to Aston Villa is massively dependent on who we bring in at right winger, whether I feel like it's a missed opportunity for us or if you just say good bit of business for Villa, which either way it is. But I'm going to be fuming if we end up with Dan James and they've got Leon Bailey.
Yeah, I think Dan James looks less and less likely. I think Man United don't want to play ball. It potentially could be, but I think Pereira is the one that, from what we hear, is ongoing as well. Just to put in as well, have you seen Pereira been linked to Al Hilal? I mean, it's. I think that one is less likely to happen. They've offered him a load of money, but I think we were saying this last time, weren't we, Anne, that if he has any sense about him and he really wants a footballing career rather than just the money, he will come. He won't go there.
Yeah, and I think as well with this one, they've offered him loads of money, but then they're proper lowballing West Brom with the transfer fee of like something like 12 million. So if they offer him they could offer him $500,000 a week. If West Brom don't accept the transfer fee, then he's going nowhere.
Yeah, and that's all they care about. And again, it's it shows you that maybe they don't know that much about football because again, the wages is as attractive as it is. The club still has the power, and the club will decide that as well. So again, that's not going to happen. And Berardi, I think again, a link in the description for this as well. About Berardi, Fabrizio Romano said it's not happening. If there's going to be anything, it'll be anytime soon. But I'll bring it up on screen. Actually, I'll put it in the link in the description. But I've set up this stream a little bit late, but a little bit as well. Sassuolo CEOs about Berardi and Leicester rumours want to keep Berardi. He's a top player. We've received important we've seen an important bid, which we'll discuss. But the decision is not. Would it take a decision with this player? We're not selling our stars later than August. But essentially, I wanted to bring that up because we haven't mentioned it so far. But I pretty much guarantee this is not happening.
If it's going to happen, it will happen quickly, as they said. We're now into August, so yeah, I don't see this one happening. I'd love him to come in, but honestly, it seems very unlikely.
Yeah, I think it will be, and we'll stick on some of the get into your comments a little bit more as well in terms of some of the players. Hassan Ali puts Madueke. Do you think that's going to happen? Again, for me, the most likely one from what we've seen as well is probably Pereira, but Madueke seems like one that's been thrown about in the rumor mill by his agent and stuff. I can't see anything. I've not seen anything properly from the club actually come out about it.
No, I've not seen anyone reliable coming out about it. This seems more of one that the fans want than has got any legs. And I think, again, he would be a massive improvement on anything we've got on the right wing. But, again, it doesn't look like we're going in for him.
Yeah, I don't think so as well. Just puts another one. Again, something that's been linked today. Marcus Asensio. Again, I think you watched it. I just genuinely watch Premier League, to be honest. But I've heard his name a little bit bounded around. But from what we were discussing, I think earlier off camera, like in group chats and stuff, this is not probably happening. And it's probably his agent just trying to get a move.
Thing is, I don't think he's at Real Madrid level anymore. He's had a huge drop off over the last couple of years. I don't know. It's just a weird one, isn't it? And I do think that it's still completely out of nowhere. And Real Madrid are financially in the shit, but so they're going to try and offload anyone everywhere kind of thing. But I don't think he's a bad player. Don't get me wrong, but is he the player that we need? I'm unsure. But if he comes in, it's definitely an exciting. It would be exciting and stuff. But I'm unsure if he's the player that we need. If I'm completely honest.
Yeah, the thing is, I just don't know that much about him, to be perfectly honest with you. And one thing as well, you're saying he could cut in on the left side with his he could be on the right and cut in on the left hand side, which I think we need. But at the same time, with him playing for Real Madrid, do you think, for me, a couple of red flags: A bit of an ego, and B, if he's not done that well, and C, probably the wages. Would it upset the thing? But maybe it will be if it happens, it might be a loan option. But I can't really see it happening.
The thing is, with if I don't know what wages he's on, if I'm honest, but he'll come in, and if he does come in, he'll want to play each week, because you don't take a step down from Real Madrid to Leicester and then be a bit part player. If he's going to move away from Real Madrid, where he is a bit part player, he's going to want to be going somewhere where he's going to be one of the key starters, which I do think he would be at Leicester, but. It seems a big risk for a player that hasn't performed massively well for the last 2 years. And I always say this: I'd rather take a risk on a player that's doing well in sort of a lesser league, someone like a Daka, who's been absolutely brilliant in Austria, than take a risk on a player like an Asensio, who once was a brilliant player and now he's still a very talented player, but he's not reaching those levels. This almost seems more like an Everton signing that you like. Yeah. But it's a big name signing, and those we don't really seem to do those a huge amount. And for me, this has more got Everton written all over it, like James Rodriguez did.
Yeah, and I was kind of a player that's not good enough. And again, but Everton could afford the wages, but they don't really. Again, it doesn't fit our model of, okay, we get a player, we bring him up, we take him to the next level or so like that. It doesn't. It is kind of too much of that. And Brendan Rodgers spoke in an interview especially about a silver medalist. And to be honest, I don't see Asensio fit in that model.
No, and the thing about Asensio though is like he would be coming in, and if you're going to get a player like that on that right-hand side, I think we need a specialist right winger, and he's not that. Yes, he can play on the right wing, but he's naturally a left winger, also a number 10. And I know Brendan Rodgers likes that versatility, but for what it's going to cost us to bring him in, I would rather see us bring an actual right winger in.
Yeah. I could see that as well. And one player again, Jimmy, I'll get to your comment in just a second, but we'll move on to another one. Again, it's a player that we've not seen so far in pre-season. Johnny Evans. I mean, apparently this injury was going to take 4 weeks to heal. Just like, again, there was going to be a few players at the end of the season that weren't going to play in the Euros, that were going to have some time off and just relax. So the likes of Jamie Vardy, Harvey Barnes was going to get better, obviously a bit of a longer injury. James Maddison was going to fully recover, and Johnny Evans was one of them. We've seen all three of them now. We've not seen Johnny Evans. Apparently, I forgot the name of the bone. I can't remember the exact name. I know it when I hear it, but there's a bone in the bottom of the foot that apparently it's been 4 weeks was supposed to take to heal, and it's still not quite healed. Yes, he's getting back in his training, but he won't be available for a while. And Brendan Rodgers has come out, I think, publicly after when he speaks to BBC Radio Leicester and said that he won't be available for the few weeks, and they will be looking at bringing somebody in. So it begs the question, again, coming long way round to give you the full story of it. Jimmy Skit says, Gary Cahill on a free if we're worried about Evans. It's a strange one because I understand why, but at the same time, I'm like, he's Gary Cahill is quite old.
Gary Cahill's very much finished at the top level, if I'm being completely honest. I'd rather, and I'm not massively in favour of it, I'd rather get Kabak for 8.5 million as that fourth choice centre back. But I will die on this hill. James Tarkowski is the one that we should be bringing in.
I know, and also people should be as well. Get Tarkowski that we find. I think that's in reference to the corners, but still, and then get Tarkowski in and we'll be fine from corners. But again, apparently there's little bits of rumor thing that could be done as well. But again, I don't want to say it again because we've said it so many times on this program. However, if we're going to compete for the top four year in year out, I think he's the kind of signing and that would make sense.
Yeah, and the thing is, Tarkowski, Vestergaard, both like very similar in terms of experience. They've done it in the Premier League. Both leaders, both got 1 year left on their contract. At 20 million, I think, is the reported fee for both of those. I think we should be all over it, if I'm honest. But it's going to be interesting what happens because we as fans have said that we needed another centre back, but do the club see that as a priority now? I think Brendan Rodgers does, and he's put a bit of pressure on the board coming out and saying that he thinks we need another centre back. So I think he might have almost twisted their arm with that one. Yeah,
and he might. And again, he doesn't do it out of. I think there is a little bit of money available, but we'll have to see about that one because I think there will be. I think from what Romano said as well, there will be more transfer stuff in terms of Leicester City, and the majority is incomings. I know he said there's a few players that should be coming out as well. I know you just saw that as well. We should sign Van Dijk. He's too injury prone now. Of course, like at Leicester. But Gustav puts, we're linked for Diakaby for 8 mil. And I think this is the same problem with Kabak, isn't it? No Premier League experience, quite young. I don't know too much about him at the moment. But overall, Diakaby he doesn't fix the problem at the moment, does it?
Well, he fixes one of the two problems. I think the two problems at centre-back is depth and experience. He fixes the depth one. But as that fourth choice centre back, which I think anyone coming in will be, you want someone who's reliable, who can come in and do a job, and then potentially compete to become maybe slightly higher up in the pecking order. But the thing is, Kabak or I've forgotten his name already, the Valencia centre back, they're going to be coming in. They'll cover the depth, but then it's can you bring them in on one-off games as and stuff as that cover and as that rotation. I think if you're going to be bringing in players like that, they're going to be wanting to play a lot.
Yeah, and it just takes one in. And bearing in mind, just look at the likes of Fofana. That was Fofana's role last season. It was supposed to be Johnny Evans and Soyuncu as the main holding centre backs. However, one injury to I think Soyuncu took him out of the team, and then Fofana was thrust straight into it. So you're looking at it going, oh my God, it's a lot at the moment. So it is what it is. Again, we'll get some of your comments as well. Just says you'll have to think about a right wing has to be good this week coming. Maybe Sue, we don't know about this week. Again, the transfer window closes on the 31st of August. So we're still, again, it is this month, but it is the end of this month. So expect a lot more deals to get done. And bearing in mind, we've got 3 good signings in, which is a lot more than some teams have done. Anyway,
Brendan Rodgers, he
Yep.
did allude to wanting to get as much of his business done before the Wolves game. So I'm sure I would be presuming Brendan Rodgers will be pushing like mad to get the 2 signings in.
Yeah, you really will do. Pereira coming from West Ham will be gone to and Berardi deadline's at 8th will be passed. Yeah, so I think Berardi, again, we've said it's unlikely. The reason why we've not paid it much mind is because there's not really been anything on it until he said until Romano said it recently, which is why I've not picked it up. Pereira we've mentioned because it could be a good player in the future as well. But yes, and this is what we don't want as well, as Yeti Boy says. I just don't think we don't want Ndidi a centre back. Not that there's anything wrong. We just lose so much from that midfield, and I think as 4th choice centre back, you're probably going to see Daniel Amati at the moment as kind of that player that can play in multiple positions as well.
Yeah, I think Dan, as I always say, I think he's hilarious, but I just don't think he's good enough to be 4th choice centre back if we've got realistic ambitions of pushing for top 4.
Interesting. But yeah, hello to Aki as well. Hope you're doing well. But yes, in terms of that, there's pretty much there's not really much else. Hasan Ali is on it for the 4th time now. Do you think we'll sign Tarkowski? Yes or no? It's a tough one. From what we're hearing, there potentially is talks, so it may happen, but then as Brendan Rodgers has said, but again, we've been in him for a while. Brendan Rodgers has said, and I think Burnley have brought in replacements, and also Brendan Rodgers has now come out physically, publicly, and said that they're looking at a player specifically at centre back as well. So up to you, Ant.
The thing is, it's like you say, you see the reports that apparently that we've agreed personal terms with him and stuff, and that we've seen those reports from the start of the window that he would be keen on the move. It's just now about if Burnley are going to play ball and let him move or not. But
well, the thing, Burnley are just doing to us what we've done to the top 6 for a long period of time. Do you know what I mean?
The difference is, though, Burnley aren't in the position of power because next year he walks away for nothing. When we do this, we've got players on big long-term deals. Like Maddison, if Arsenal want him, come pay the money. He's on a long-term deal, but difference is with Tarkowski, he walks away for nothing next year.
So yeah, it could be again this month. We'll have to see. So there is indications of that. However, again, personal terms were agreed quite a while ago. I think quite a few people reported on it, but they might just be holding out. We'll see. And again, Leicester don't have the biggest budget at the moment, but I think he just covers all the brackets, and he would be fantastic in terms of, and again, give him some Europa League football as well, which I know I think Burnley got it. I think one of the season after they came up, but they didn't really progress in it, and they kind of fell off a cliff, so they had to concentrate on the Premier League as well. But yes, I think that's pretty much everything at the moment. Oh, one thing as well. Ben Grist, I know I'd mentioned it. I did have him in the thumbnail, and I took him out last minute because Bailey and Berardi have more pull, to be honest. But he's a 16-year-old, apparently wonder kid. Really impressed. There's an article on the Leicester Mercury about it as well. And Manchester United were in for him. And I thought he was absolutely fantastic that we're going in and we're getting these signings, because they said about, I think, April time, that they really wanted to strengthen the under-23s, and I think they've done that massively. And we already had a strong team, but they're putting more and more focus into that under-23 squad, and we're going to see the likes of like Thanuas Chitawong, and some other big players like Soa, who did pretty well, in my opinion, again over the couple of games that he's played. We're going to see a lot more players potentially coming through the ranks and trying to make it that first team, which can only be a good thing.
And I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about the lad that you said, but the fact that we're getting players now that are picking us over going to United and stuff because they see a clear pathway to a first team can only be a good thing. And we've mentioned it so much about the infrastructure that's being built in terms of youth, the academy. It's building the foundations for the future. Yeah,
and that's what the club is perfect at, doing the business and scaling it right. Because again, they could have done things, and they've done it fantastically as well. And one thing I wanted to mention as well is I think the last one is the stadium expansion. 40k going to add to the East Stand. What are your thoughts on it, Ant?
Yes. It looks like you're seeing all the designs and stuff, which I guarantee it's going to look nothing like all of the pictures we've seen on Twitter. Because
it's like a concept car, isn't it? Or when they come out with the concept kits and then the actual kit comes out, you're like, oh.
Yeah, but it's very exciting. And I think it's going to be obviously a gradual process because there's going to be this first expansion and then there's talk of there being another one after it and stuff. It's just what an exciting time to be a Leicester fan.
It really is, and they're doing it slowly in the right way as well. And not just that, I think they're having a hotel there. They're having a multi-function arena as well, which is going to be massive as well. So yeah, just going to go back to some of your comments as well, because again, it's just some unbelievable stuff at the moment. Again, Daka's off the mark of his first goal. I saw your comment earlier. I'm doing fine, Renee. How are you? But Daka's first goal against QPR. I mean, that's fantastic. And looking back at the highlights, some of the football we played, it wasn't perfect at times, and it really wasn't that great. But it's pre-season, you must expect that. But the way that he took his goal, I think, was just a natural striker's finish, which, again, I don't want to keep comparing him to JD Vardy, but it's so hard when you keep playing like that.
Yeah, it's as well the penalty one, the acceleration, off the mark to get to the ball before the keeper. That was, I knew he was quick, but Jesus Christ, that was absolutely rapid. And it was really clever play from him as well to get the penalty there. So, again, you just said it, but we don't want to keep doing it. But how many times have we seen Jamie Vardy do that, where he just takes a little bit of contact in the box and wins a penalty?
Exactly. And you're thinking that's going to be the case as well. But it again, he's looking fantastic. KDH, again, as Aki was saying, world class. I won't say it was class, sorry, but again, he's definitely one for the future. And that midfield, something I was trying to say in the post match, that midfield is almost stupid how much strength and depth we have in that midfield, considering KDH is trying to get in as well. Yeah,
it's something from last year that was a weak point with the depth in the midfield that's gone from over this transfer window, getting Dewsbury Hall back, bringing in Samare. It's gone from a weak point to a point of strength, because I'll say our starting midfield is already incredible with and Didi, Madison, Tielemans, but then now we've added that depth to it. That's really going to be what helps us compete.
No, you're definitely right there. Definitely right there. Again, just a couple of questions. Again, we reckon Daka scores against Wolves. Fantastic. Hopefully that's the case. We hope he gets off the mark as soon as possible. However, he's had a good preseason. Let's give him time. I know a lot of the Zambia fans wanting to do well, and we want him to do well, but it's going to take time for him to develop. Remember how Sionch came into the Premier League and we were thinking, who the hell is this guy? Well, he's all over the place, always on his bottom. Now he's a fantastic defender. And who do you think will start against Wolves? I think we're going to have the awesome guys from Scott and James from Sweet and Sour Soccer to discuss that during the preseason. So make sure you stay tuned. I think it'll be in a couple of weeks' time. But yes, I think Aki as well said Daki and Vardy could really come in this season. The Premier League teams get ready. I mean, I think one of the issues that I found as well is that potentially with Johnny Evans out, we're going to have to probably win games 4-3, 3. Like, do you know what I mean? We're going to have to play that kind of football rather than play particularly defensive. And I think Ryan Bertrand and Ricardo are going to be the mainstays until Johnny Evans gets better if we don't bring in anybody.
Well, I think Ricardo, he's our starting right back anyway, and hopefully he can get back to that levels that he was before. But it does worry me that if we don't bring in another centre back, I think we are going to struggle massively. I think our window so far has been brilliant in terms of Samare and Daka, but a right winger and a centre back, I think, will be what the difference between finishing in a Europa League spot or elevating ourselves to a Champions League spot.
Yeah, and that's hopefully what we can do. Again, there's a lot of things last season in terms of the fixture schedule, how we did in Europe wasn't the best, the injuries that we sustained, and these are all, again, I know they're excuses, but at the same time, they are things to consider getting into the top 4 that we need to put right. And hopefully that's the case. We believe that the squad will do the best they can. Again, as you're saying, Brendan Rodgers putting a bit of pressure on. But is there anything else you want to finish on before we finish, Ant? Because pretty much, again, it's been a busy, as you can tell by, there's a lot of stuff that's happened this week, but I think we've just taken it as it comes and just roll on probably Villarreal.
Yeah, and it's been a busy week, but there's not been a huge amount that's been concrete. And I think as we get closer to the start of the Premier League season, we're going to start to see the rumours like really intensify and stuff. But I was seeing something on Twitter today, which I think surprisingly I actually don't disagree with something on Twitter, but it was saying that I can't see like if Maddison does go, he will go in the next 2 weeks. I can't see him being let go after the Premier League season starts.
I think so. I think you're right. And from what we've heard as well, the only players that are really, the only team that's really in for him is Arsenal, and they want to pay an instalment, and we've gone pay more upfront for him, and they've just gone no. So we go, cool, we're not doing business with you. That's why, if you obviously you're on Twitter, Arsenal fans are constantly tweeting about him, but nothing has really gone quiet. It's really gone quiet, and he's probably going to stay here. And one more thing as well. Rene says, I think we might get the top 4 spot. What are your Premier League predictions for 2021-22? We might do it. I think I don't know if you normally do the video on that your channel, Anne. But I think we might. I think we might get a video here, or just getting some people's thoughts on where they think Leicester will finish. Like season predictions.
Yeah, I'm going to do one on my channel, but I reckon we could have a bit of fun doing that on here as well.
Yeah,
but I do think we will finish 4th this year. But I said that last year as well. So
did you? I thought you said just.
Oh no, it's the year before that I said that, didn't it? It was last year. I was pessimistic, wasn't I? I said we were going to finish. We all were,
and they finished 5th with an FA Cup. So again, it can only be good things. Anyway, exactly. And Ian puts in a brilliant comment as well. Thank you for your comment, Ian. The only way Maddison will go to pay if Arsenal pay 70 million up front, plus we have a replacement lined up. Exactly. And one thing I'll say with an Arsenal fan about that is that that's going to be the case, and that's a good way as well. Sorry, stick to 1 point first, Neil. Come on. Is that we normally have a replacement with Söyüncü came in the year before Maguire left. Maddison came in before Thingy left. Maddison came in before Mahrez left. So it is they've got an idea, and go all out for the Europa League. I mean, that is an idea, but do you think we'll do that? Because again, that's even more game time, and trying to do that is going to be a lot.
Yeah, but we're building a squad depth to compete on all fronts. So I don't see why we can't have a proper good go at the Europa League. Last year, we didn't have a squad for it. This year, we probably do have more of a squad to actually have a real go at it.
Yeah, I think it should be good again. We'll see who we get. We'll try and do a live stream at the time see who we get. But thank you for joining. You've just did a video on your channel with Doug, haven't you?
Yeah. Doug's always a good laugh to talk to, so make sure to check that out. It's previewing the season from a Liverpool perspective, where we go off and talk about pretty much everything apart from football from half an hour onwards. So make sure to check that one out.
Fantastic. Yeah. So brilliant. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you everybody for watching as well. We really appreciate it. Give a big thumbs up. We really appreciate it. We're trying to help grow. We really appreciate you. Everybody subscribing recently as well and trying and helping grow the channel. It means the world to us. So thank you so much. We'll see everybody in the next video. So goodbye.